All right. All right. Before I add him, I know he predicted Spain to win, but I think this is I need another store catching up to Italy. Um, I mean, maybe Italy could have a fifth store if they qualified for actual World Cups. You know, ever since Italy last won a World Cup, Spain had zero. Now Spain have two, and probably going to add a third before Italy add a first. But now let's add the star of the show, Charlie.
The star of the show. The star of the show. Big up 10. It's been a while. Yeah, congrats. All I can say is congrats. I predicted it. I said Spain would win. I said you're the most tactically complete team. And that's what ended up happening. Prediction I'm proud of, I have to say. And yeah, sadly, the World Cup's over now. I mean, good thing is I don't have to think about Italy not being there anymore. But overall, we'll talk about it. Overall, World Cup's always, for me, enjoyable, except when there's a stain on it, like there was again this time. But yeah, big up to 10. Good to be back on. Should be a good show. Lots happened, as you know. There's a certain Italian midfielder that I would want to talk about as well at some point, which I'm sure we will. But yeah, big up the chat. Anybody watching, big up 10 as well. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously, it actually exactly this time 7 days ago was the final. So that was pretty good. But yeah, obviously, in this show we'll talk about Spain winning the World Cup. And probably just how we feel about the World Cup in general. And then we'll talk about Pep Guardiola being Italy manager. Oh. Well, we'll talk about it.
Oh, no. Oh.
and then I guess we'll talk about Palermo first after talking about Italy's manager situation. And then a certain Italian midfielder and then Tottenham's season ahead. Well, both Palermo.
You talk about Newcastle as well. I mean, it seems very messy, to be honest. Like
we'll find out, but yeah, we'll start with Spain winning the World Cup, and yeah, you said Spain are the best team in the tournament, but overall, how did you feel about the World Cup? Like the 48 now that you've played, even though Italy for the third time is not in it.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, because Italy weren't in it, I had all my eggs in the England basket, which I knew would ultimately fail in the end because it's England and England win nothing. And as an England fan, I'm an Italy and an England fan, but as an England fan, I've accepted that England will probably never win anything in my lifetime. So, because look, there's only World Cups only every 4 years, Euros is only every 4 years, tournament every 2 years. England have only won the World Cup once in '66. So, you know, of England, I have little optimism. Although, when Gordon scored, I thought maybe we'll get to Gordon. But then, obviously, Argentina happened. Thankfully, Argentina lost that final, by the way. I think me and everybody except Argentinian people wanted Argentina to lose because of, you know, everything that happened. For example, Egypt being, for me, one of the biggest robberies I've seen in my life. With everything that happened there, the 3-2, 2 clear penalties being denied, foul, build up, whatever. But overall, it was an interesting World Cup. Obviously, you had some stories such as Cape Verde, which I think everybody can admire. That goalkeeper, what's his name, Vecino, he's going to go to
speaking
Sebastian.
Yeah, Colo,
yeah. So he's joining Sebastian's team. Vecino, didn't he overtake a bunch of obviously famous football players, Instagram followers, which is mental. Same big up to that Curacao goal. I can't remember his name, but that Curacao goalkeeper. That's it. Yeah, big up to him as well. A couple of goalkeeping stories like Joe Hwang Woo from 2018. If you know, you know. But overall, definitely interesting. I mean, you had the group stage, which obviously it is what it is. Cape Verde, I'll bring up Cape Verde again. Them making the knockout stage is obviously incredible. But yeah, I mean, Spain, for me, going back to Spain, I did start, even though I stuck to my prediction, I did start to doubt it because obviously you guys drew to Cape Verde. Then, you just about beat Uruguay, just about. I know Portugal were good, but just about beat them. I was starting to doubt it a bit because I thought you guys didn't look as good as the Euros. You looked a bit slower, more maybe a bit tired. And I was thinking, look, you know what, France, with all that quality, might just do it. Which I did not want to happen. Thankfully, it didn't happen because I didn't want them to go within one World Cup of Italy. I can proudly say to France, to Argentina, who didn't even us on World Cups, unlucky. We've given you, we've been an absolute disaster. We've given you guys all of this time to catch up, and you still can't do it. So they can all hold that. But I wanted Spain to win. I wanted Spain to win. Once England got knocked out, I wanted Spain to win that final. Also, because if you guys won, which you did, you're on 2, still got double. So it is what it is. But yeah,
we'll probably get before Italy gets a 5th.
You will. You will. I'll be real. You will. But yeah, no, it was a good World Cup overall. Although it's a shame, obviously, about all the noise surrounding it. I mean, that you obviously make of that what you will to everybody watching. But for me, look, the football was good, but yeah, the noise around it was obviously bad. And I don't know what you think, Ten, but I'm really not a fan of this halftime show stuff.
Oh, I mean,
obviously, the show itself, look, I'm not saying it was bad, it was good, but you don't need to do it at halftime. Just do it before, like halftime. FIFA literally had to bend their own rules to make that happen. For me, I'm not a fan of it. I think it made halftime too long, personally. And obviously, that final was very boring for most of it. Although I knew you guys would win. I knew unless an Infantino special happened, which it did a lot in the previous rounds with Argentina. But I knew that if the right team won, that was obviously going to be Spain, and that's what's happened. So yeah, big up to 10. You've had a good sort of few couple months or so. Depor got promoted, and Spain won the World Cup. So it's apart from Newcastle, it's looking good for you.
Yeah, I mean, Palermo didn't get promoted. Italy didn't even play in the World Cup. Like the disparity is getting bigger and all that. But yeah, I think with the halftime show, I mean, during that time, I was at the center, as you guys can see in the video earlier. I went out of the plaza, the center, and I got another drink for so I enjoy it and all that sort of stuff. It didn't feel that long, but that's probably because I was out, as in getting a drink or maybe sitting somewhere, calling a friend, whatever. But yeah, overall, it was like the World Cup final experience itself. I mean, I don't know if Italy will ever have that, ever.
We've had it 4 times, and we've done it back to back in the 1930s. So
yeah, those were the days. I remember those days. Yeah, when Italy won the World Cup in 34. we're soon hitting not 2034. But and also the good thing is that the next World Cup, I think a good amount of it will be played in Spain as well.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. Big up to you for your prediction. Don't Sebastian. We'll get to that. Big up to your prediction for America, because they actually done it right. They didn't go to the quarters like you said, but they actually were playing some good football. Apart from that Belgium game, they actually surprised. I was shocked. Surprisingly, they were actually playing some good football.
I think that's why I said, okay, yeah, they did do well against Belgium, and I would say that's probably a disappointing result. And I think that kind of put a cloud over how the tournament was. I actually thought the first 4 games, so all the group games and the Bosnia game that they won, I think USA, because some people think they had a bad World Cup because of that Belgium result.
Well, it definitely, I think, kind of halted the progress, if you want to say that. They kind of it's one of those, right? In the group stage in Bosnia, they took a couple steps forward. Then that Belgian game meant they took a couple steps back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if USA had beaten Belgium and it would have been Spain versus USA, I do think Spain do win it. Just well, with hindsight, yeah, I think Spain would win it. But yeah, I think over the net, if they keep Poch, which I heard they might, I'm not sure, but if they keep him, I think there's the Copa America, which could be played again in USA.
Again? Oh my!
Well,
I mean, again?
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Yeah.
so
It says everything. Does like it really does.
wow, a Copa America played in America.
But they've hosted. If they host the next one, they've hosted 2 in a row. When has that ever happened? I thought you weren't allowed to do that.
I don't know how it works in South America, but I do kind of know why they are. So I think if Poch stays and all that for that Copa America in 2 years, I think USA can do all right, but that's in 2 years. But I would say Spain, Argentina made the final. England finished third, which is actually the best
Our
ever.
best, yeah. It is our best ever finish. For me, right, that Argentina game, it was a Tuchel special. All the Bayern fans, big up to Liam, big up to Zer, they all knew exactly what that was. And that was a Tuchel special because we're 1-0 up. He brings on defenders with 20 minutes to go. Look, if there's 5 minutes to go or whatever, do that. You got to do what you got to do. But with 20 minutes to go, bearing in mind this is a team, whatever you think of them, is a team that has Messi on it. With 20 odd minutes to go, you bring on defenders. It was, for me, as soon as he made those subs, I knew we had lost. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and that's what happened. I truly believe that if Tuchel didn't make the stupid substitutions, the worst substitutes I've ever seen since probably he done it against Real Madrid in 2024.
Oh yeah.
Again, literally a carbon copy of what happened. I think we would have. I'm not saying we definitely would have won 1-0 or any, but we would have at least gone to extra time, in my opinion. So when it comes to England, you might as well have just had Southgate as the manager and nobody would have noticed the difference, because we used to always criticize Southgate for, he doesn't have good in-game management. He's not a top-level manager. He doesn't know how to do it when it matters. Tuchel, whatever you think of him, has won trophies. He has, been involved in big games. But that was a Tuchel special. Like what? There's nothing more about it. That was a Tuchel special. It's what we've seen him do a lot, like the Bayern fans will know. And ultimately, it's same old England.
Yeah. I mean, at least you finished third after winning 6-4.
We did finish third. So, yeah, I mean, that should have been the final.
I said before that game, I was like, watch this be like a 6-7, 8-5 type of game. I can't believe I was actually closer than a lot of people's predictions.
Well, I think, to be honest, in that game, tactics went out the window. No team wanted to defend, and it was just a free for all.
Well, yeah, it's like whoever gets third, it's a.
I mean, think about it, right? Do you think France, when it matters, would allow Saka to get a hat trick? No chance.
No. I think, and to be honest, I think they should have won the game at 4-0 down. I was like, watch this. This is the typical. Oh, you are 4-0 up at halftime, and then it was 4-3. I think at one point, I was like, yeah, watch France win this or something like that.
It's just classic England for you, isn't it? But obviously, we won 6-4 and got the bronze medal. So
yeah, at least England do have a medal at this World Cup, but so too have Spain. But I think
Spain have the one that matters.
Yeah. Well, Argentina also has a silver medal, but I think with actually both tournaments happening in both countries, you in England, me in Spain, the next 2 European-based ones. The Euros in 2028, I'm guessing, well, Tuchel will stay. I think they'll affect.
Yeah, he is. He's staying. Yeah, he's staying.
If there's a possibility that both teams are drawn in different paths in the knockouts, we could get Spain versus England at the next Euro.
Again, or I'll tell you what's going to happen, right? Like every tournament we can actually qualify for, we play Spain. Italy, we play Spain every single time. So that's going to happen.
And Croatia as well.
You guys play Croatia a lot as well.
Yeah, I think the last 4 Euros, Spain have played Croatia, and in the last 5 Euros consecutively, Spain have played Italy, and I think have won. Well, actually, there were 6 games in 5 because that 2012
we beat you in the semi-finals, and we beat you in the last 16. I remember, yeah.
And then the other one were a draw in the group stage.
And you beat us. You beat us last time, which, by the way, I'll be honest, you should have beaten us about 20-0. I don't know how it was 1-0. Like, you should have beaten it with the chances. I remember Spain had like 1 million chances. It should have been like 1,000,000. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, but I think maybe England could win the next Euros at home. I mean, England always do well at home. Like, won the World Cup in '66, in Euro '96, made the semifinal. Euro 2020, lost to Italy in the final.
This is England though. Like,
and technically, the women's team, the England women's team, actually won the Euros in England.
Yeah. Well, the women's know how to win. They won it back to back.
Well, actually, fun fact: Spain are now the first national team, first country to be women's champions and men's champions. Because Spain are the current women's champions as well.
But this is what happens with Spain, right? Because I know we've talked about it before, but like this is what I keep begging Italy to do. And maybe look, now that Maldini's there, maybe we will. I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit, but Spain have De La Fuente, who was the youth team manager. He knows the players from each youth level. They understand the tactics and the system. And it's not a surprise to see Spain doing well when that chemistry has been built up for years and years and years. You know, a lot of these national teams, especially Italy, it's just you throw a bunch of players together and hope that it sticks. And then more often than not, the manager doesn't know what to do. But with Spain, it's different. They actually have a system in place from youth level to allow a team to be put out like the one we've seen over the last couple of tournaments. So that's why Spain, I think, I said even when I was starting to doubt Spain a little bit during the World Cup, I even said then, I think Spain tactically is still the best team because for the reasons I said. Will it come down to quality or will it come down to that? And obviously, Spain, they have quality, of course, but when they beat France, obviously I thought France would win. I'll be honest at the time, even though I stuck with my prediction. But Spain, I wasn't entirely surprised when you guys beat. I know a lot of people were shocked, but I wasn't entirely surprised.
Yeah, and obviously went on to win the World Cup, and I probably have to get a new shirt.
Yeah, yeah, get like a sticker or something. Like.
Yeah. But speaking of adding a star, Italy are still on 4 stars. Though
still double what Spain have.
Well, to be fair, at least Spain has doubled the amount.
Like I said, I'll say it one more time. Argentina didn't match us. France didn't go one behind us. Both of them can hold it. Now I've all this time to catch up and they can't do it. Hold it.
Yeah. Or even Brazil to pull away. But speaking of Italy, I guess the manager is Pep Guardiola.
Man.
Well, what do you call it? It's Andrea Pirlo.
Not yet. Have you seen what's come out today? Not yet.
Oh,
just look it up. There's been some stuff. There's been some stuff. Those that see if you can find it. Yeah, it might not be Pirlo now. It might not be.
Okay, that I didn't actually know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, do you think Pirlo will get the job?
I mean, first and foremost, I have to talk about Pep because I was praying. Pep to Italy. See, Pep to Italy would have been, for me, assuming that, with Maldini there, the structure, improves. Pep could have changed Italian football. He could have had, you saw the influence that Pep had on English football. Teams were starting to play Pep ball. They were trying to, copy it essentially. Pep to Italy would have been a game changer because I think it would have just given it. Because look, I'll be honest, right? Italian football is in a bad situation right now. That includes the national team and Serie A. Last season was probably the season I enjoyed Serie A the least for quite a long time. We need something just to lift the whole situation. Pep would have done that. Pep knows how to win, importantly. Pep's won everything. I think he could have done wonders for us. He would make the right decisions as well in terms of who to call up. But unfortunately, it's not to be. And I don't know, have you seen the Pirlo stuff yet?
Oh, I guess something like, what is it actually exactly?
I can't. To be honest, I actually don't know entirely. I just saw. Let me see this.
Because I just thought, oh, you know what, Pirlo's going to be Italy manager or something, and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, it's yeah.
What is it? Something to do with his something with Russia?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to get into politics or anything, but like, yeah, essentially there's some sort of link. And with I don't know, was it a betting thing or something? It's like a let me see. Yeah, Russian betting website. Yeah, that's it. I don't know what I'll be honest, I have no idea what this is about. I have no idea what the situation is, but apparently, allegedly, according to these reports that I'm reading, apparently that is an obstacle in Pirlo becoming Italy manager, which before this news came out today, it looked nailed on that he would be Italy manager, which, look, if it could still go through. If it does go through, Pirlo's a legend as a player. Everybody knows how good Pirlo was. Obviously, a World Cup winner with us. But come on, why are we doing this again? Did we not learn from Gattuso? Just so recent. Do we not ever learn? Pirlo, as a manager, those that know the Juventus. Look, I know he won Coppa Italia and everything at Juventus, but look at what he's done since then. He went to Sampdoria, where, by the way, Palermo under Corini knocked him out of the playoffs, right? Under Corini, who, again, situation with Palermo, legend as a player for us, but as a manager was awful, right? Pirlo got knocked out to Corini of the Serie B playoffs in the first round in 2024, right? When Pirlo was at Sampdoria. He then went to Turkey. I don't know how he done there. Then he went to like the UAE or something. You know, Pirlo as a manager, still a young manager, but ultimately he hasn't done it as a manager. It's another situation of these fantastic players. They're not good managers. Like, it's just not how it works. Just because you're an amazing player, it doesn't mean you're going to be a top manager. And it might not happen now because of all this news that's come out today. But if Pirlo is definitely going to be, if Pirlo's going to be the new Italy manager, I think we're in trouble. I really do think we're in trouble. And for me, it's just more of the same old mistakes that we're just not learning from. And obviously Maldini's come in, which I know we didn't do a show at the time, but obviously for me, fantastic news. Maldini, everyone knows the job he done at AC Milan to kind of get them out of the banter era at the time. You know, Maldini and Leonardo as well being brought in was a fantastic move. It's exactly what we needed. Somebody that knows football, that understands Italian football, that's a legend, running the show. It's exactly what we needed. But we need to get the manager right as well. And obviously, Pep would have been the right manager. Pep said no. Apparently, he wants to take a break, which doesn't surprise me because for me, obviously at Man City, he looked pretty burnt out and he was there for a long time. So I'm not surprised that he wants to take a break. However, Conte is available. Apparently, he's on our shortlist, but I don't know why we're not going for Conte. Because Conte, for me, if Pep's not coming, Conte is the obvious choice. There's only one choice, and it's Conte. Because Conte, with, by the way, on paper, a worse Italy team than even the current one, a worse one in Euro 2016, Conte dragged that team to the quarterfinals, beating Spain, beating prime Belgium, where they had that golden generation in the group stage as well, only going out to Germany on penalties. You know, Conte, for me, is the obvious choice. You know, he won't take any shit as well. He's not gonna call up players just because of their name and everything, right? And obviously he's won, most places he's been. So yeah, I mean that's another story. But Conte for me is the obvious choice. If Pep's not coming, there's no other obvious choice other than Conte. We need to get Conte in. But apparently we don't want to make smart decisions and we just don't learn, seemingly. Look, I'll be honest, right? I know Gravina's gone and all of this, right? The corruption's still there, though. I wouldn't even be surprised if Maldini's not even making the decisions. I wouldn't even be surprised. knowing this federation, which is one of the worst, if not the worst, in international football. So there you go. I don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, like I said, Pirlo might not even be the manager now. So we'll see who we go for after if that isn't the case. But if Pirlo is going to be the manager, then we're not learning. We're simply not learning.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would be another option if it's not Conte or Pirlo or Guardiola.
Well, the other options that have been mentioned is Mancini, which you know my thoughts on Mancini. Obviously, did fantastic at the Euros, but is unfortunately part of the failure. He failed to qualify us against North Macedonia, which I'm not saying it was all his fault, because apparently, there were players called up that he didn't want called up, apparently. But ultimately, that is Mancini was the manager. And obviously, we know how he done in Saudi. Zir was telling us when he was went to Saudi after. So I'm against Mancini. I'm against Pirlo. I don't know what we do. For me, it has to be Conte. It has to be Conte. Or another name, a bit of a outside the box, is Palladino, who was mentioned. And obviously, Palladino is a big gamble. Just left Atalanta at the end of last season and everything. However, Palladino, for me, is worth a risk more than Pirlo and Mancini. Because Palladino is more, in a way, unproven, but at least, we kind of have a bit of unknown with him. It might not work out. It could definitely easily be the same. But at least it's something, a little bit different. And look, Ancelotti, of course, I would have taken him as well, but, he's already at Brazil. Apparently, we made an approach. I don't know how far that went, but look, for Pep, I'll be honest, I believed. I was dreaming, but egg on my face. I should have known better.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Netherlands job is also open, so if they don't get Erik ten Hag, maybe Italy could get ten Hag.
Oh my, no.
Or there's another manager I think that's also available. Anne.
No.
Or if you want success, you might as well get a Spanish manager.
Bring me Conte. Bring me Conte. Just do it. Just please hire Conte. Do the smart thing. Now that Guardiola said no, do the smart thing and hire Conte. Please. That's the only way forward for me. Hire Conte.
Yeah. I don't know about Shevchenko, I would say, but
Shevchenko was the Ukraine manager, sort of at one point.
Got them to, I think, the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Euro that Italy won, which is really the only tournament you really fully experience. Well, like really, I don't know.
So, I mean, I was 3 years old when we won the World Cup, and
I don't know how much.
The Euros was quite recently. I remember that well. So
yeah, I mean, I do remember that Euros with Italy winning it. But yeah, I guess we'll move on from international football, and then obviously we'll talk about
just one more thing actually as well. I'll ask you about Spain. Do you think Spain can repeat what they've done?
You know what?
2011, what was it? 2008, 2010, all of that.
You know what? Knowing that, probably, yeah, I would say with Spain probably still being the favorites. Yeah, that would be good. I think Spain are probably the big favorites to win the next Euros, and then maybe the next World Cup, and then the Euros after that, which could be in Italy, and then the World Cup after that in Saudi. So Spain are practically the favorites in all 5, 6, 7 tournaments ahead or something like that. But I guess we'll now talk about the club season while the cat is still moving.
Yep. Yeah, my cat's made another appearance. So,
but we'll first talk about the team on the shirt, Palermo. I wouldn't mind that. So yeah, well, Palermo being in Serie B.
Here we go.
Meanwhile, Deportivo actually are in the first division with Aubameyang. Actually.
Obama who? Obama who?
But yeah, how's it in Palermo?
I just got back from Palermo, so
Yeah.
that was nice. Sorry for the cat again. Yeah. First of all, I hope you guys like the shirt. This is one of my favorite away kits that I think we've ever had. That I don't know, I just like it. The oranges, the lemons. I don't know, it's very unique. I like unique kits, so I thought I'll just buy it because why not? But yeah, that's our new away kit that just got released. And in terms of Palermo, look, I do want to talk about Deportivo with you after as well because I know you made some, like I said, interesting signings. But Palermo's interesting. We've had a few preseason friendlies. We beat a couple of Austrian, I think, teams like 8-0 and then drew to like Nuremberg or something. But in terms of our market so far, there's some positives and some negatives because on the positive side, the signings we've made, I think, have been great signings. We've signed Hernani from Monza, who was, for those that follow Serie B, was a complete revelation in the second half of last season. They only got him in January. Was a big reason why they got promoted. Midfielder, perfect fit for us. Plus Estevez as well, coming on a free from Parma. Serie A proven. Was regularly a starter for them in Serie A. So to get him on a free, I think is good. We definitely needed some more depth in that midfield. Ranocchia and Segre. I mean, there's been rumors of Segre leaving, which I really hope doesn't happen. But obviously we'll have to see. But we just didn't have enough depth there. We needed something different, and that's why we've gone and signed those players. Hernani, like I said, Hernani is the best signing we've made for me this window so far because he was one of clearly, if not the best midfielder in Serie B last season, despite only joining in January. So that's really good. In the defense, we've signed Cassandro from, guess who? Catanzaro, who, well, not directly from Catanzaro. He was a Como player on loan there last season. Signed for us a new right back. Good competition for Pirozzi. The interesting thing is, and we're seeing this in pre-season, it appears that Inzaghi's changing the formation for next season because last season we played 3-4-3, three at the back. It's looking like this season we're going to be going with a 4-2-3-1, which is quite interesting because it's obviously a big change from three at the back. The signings we've made, kind of like I said, Cassandro is a natural sort of right back. It makes sense. Plus the left back we've signed. Let me get his name up again. I'll be honest, this was a player that I haven't really seen too much of because he played at Reggiana, who obviously got relegated last season. So I didn't really watch a lot of them. So his name, I need to be reminded of this. That's it, Bozolan. That's it, Andrea Bozolan. That's it. Who's, for me, and I think a lot of Palermo fans will agree, just going to be a backup left back to Agello, who is obviously the starter. We definitely need, look, Christopher Lund come back from his loan at Cologne, probably going to be sold. So yeah, the signing of Bozolan definitely kind of shows that. And also the goalkeeper. We got Desplanches back from his loan at Pescara. But shockingly, and this is going to surprise you, he's joined Frosinone in Serie A on loan as like their backup keeper, which for me is a terrible move because Desplanches is a young keeper. He needs game time. I don't know why we're loaning him, especially to those bums of all people as well, as their backup keeper. I'm assuming so anyway, where he's going to get like no game time. The cat's here again. And also, so he's gone, like I said, and we have signed Mattia Fortin as his replacement from RC Lons, who he was on loan at Padova last season. So again, just another sort of backup signing there. And yeah, those are the signings we have made so far. My frustration, and this is where the negatives are. Like I said, for me, all good signings, especially Hernani, especially Cassandro. Like Cassandro was one of the best fullbacks in the league last season. My frustration comes with the forward line because that forward line, look, on paper at the starting 11, really good. You've got Poyampalo, you've got Palumbo, you've got Dennis Johnson, who I'm hoping is going to kind of show his previous form from before he joined in January. So you've got obviously like I said, Paulo, the main man, top scorer in the league last season. My frustration is, obviously we haven't made the signings in the forward line. For me, we need some serious signings there because, one, we don't have a backup striker because Corona's gone out on loan to Virtus Entella. Plus, in general, we needed somebody better there. We don't have any natural wingers because if we're going to play this 4-2-3-1, we're going to need natural wingers. Giassi, for me, we need to sell him. He has been one of the worst signings I think we've made in a long time. We need to upgrade on him. Le Duron isn't a winger. He's more of an inside number 10. He doesn't fit the system. So if we're going to keep him, if we're going to play this formation, he shouldn't be played as a winger. And we got Dennis Johnson as well, who he obviously didn't do that well for us, but we only signed him in January, and before that, he was really good in Serie B for Cremonese the season before. So I'm hoping that he'll kind of recapture that form in this season. But my frustration, we need to bring in reinforcements in the forward line, especially if we're going to play this 4-2-3-1, because we don't have wingers that suit. We don't have any natural wingers. Even Giassi, he's naturally a wing back. And we don't have a backup striker. If Paulo gets injured, we're screwed. So we need to get a move on with the forward line. But apart from that, good signings. I just hope that we kind of get our act together soon. It's a shame because we lost out. One of my other frustrations, it seems like whoever we go after, Pisa go after as well. Because we wanted Rao from Bari, Napoli player on loan at Bari last season. He's joined Pisa. We wanted Maras, who scored a banger against us for Mantova last season. He's joined Pisa as well. We were after these players first, and it seems like Pisa, whoever they're going after, it's just who we're going after. So there you go. But overall, we've made some good signings, but we need more if we're going to kind of really cement ourselves, as favourites for promotion, which is what we should be. I say it every year, but next season, look. next season needs to be the year, man. We can't keep doing this.
This is our year. Like what?
I sound like Arsenal fans, honestly.
Well, you actually back in the day, you sound like Liverpool fans as well.
Liverpool fans, but it is though. Like Palermo have the biggest wage bill in the league. We're tipped as favourites every year to go up. We don't do it, so. We got to make sure we're in the position where we will this year, and that's by having the best possible transfer market. Which, like I said, there's been some good things, but also some things that we haven't done that need to be done ASAP. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, saying that you are the favorites and this year's our year, that sort of thing.
Well, look, I still maintain what I said. The competition still, in my opinion, isn't going to be as fierce as last season. Obviously, last season we got 72 points, which in other seasons would have taken us up automatically. But ultimately, like I said, the competition was very strong last season.
Your new competition is who? Pisa.
I'm saying Pisa. Look, Pisa have made even if they're going after who we want. Pisa have made some good signings. I think Hellas Verona they got Baroni as manager now, which surprised me. I didn't think he'd go to Serie B. And you've got Cremonese, who seem to be a yo-yo team as well. So, of course, it's not going to be easy, but we need to kind of put ourselves in a position where we can have a Venezia type season like last season, where we kind of run away with it. We really do need to be in that position.
Yeah, and then the teams that came up from Serie B to Serie B, who is it? Catania? Oh.
Nope, nah, nope. You got Vicenza, Arezzo, and Benevento.
Oh yeah, isn't there one?
Yeah, you're right. There's one. Oh, man, my memory's. Oh man,
Ascoli.
Ascoli, thank you. That's it, Ascoli.
I don't know how good any of them would. Maybe Benevento, just because.
Benevento. I mean, they were in Serie A recently.
A while back.
So you got Benevento. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't see any of these teams really kind of pushing for automatic promotion. I could see maybe one or two maybe getting into the playoffs like Avellino last season, but I don't see them being a problem. The ones we have to worry about for me are the three that came down, plus I don't have any kind of evidence behind this, but I wouldn't be shocked if Empoli come into the conversation. Just because of
only they had
because of what I've seen, because I saw this last season. So the season before last season, Frosinone survived relegation by goal difference. Then the next season they got promoted. Empoli survived relegation by goal difference or a point, whatever it was. You know, is history going to repeat itself?
Oh, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe what Palermo should do is avoid relegation, and then next season's your year.
Maybe that's the way to go. I mean, obviously, there's other teams. For me, Modena are a team to watch. They've made some good signings, including Mr. Promotion, Paolo Azzi, who we apparently could have got, but we didn't proceed because apparently he had some medical issues. Like he had an injury. Like he had a back injury or something, which is why we didn't want to sign him. But Paolo Azzi seems to be the lucky charm. So Modena could be a shout just based on that alone. And you got Juve Stabia, who have been close the last couple of years. Can they kind of get through the playoffs this year?
Or Catanzaro.
Nah, Catanzaro, their team's been raided. Aquilani's gone to Sassuolo as their new manager. Cassandra has obviously joined us. Liberari is going to join Como. So their team's being picked apart. Plus, they're cheats. So, no.
and then watch them beat Palermo next season.
Well, our first game is Juve Stabia at home. First game of the season.
We are known for losing against.
They've been a bogey team for us the last couple of years. So, first game, we got our Juve Stabia is one of the teams that I hope we just beat. Because I'm just sick. I'm sick of just this bogey team stuff. So.
No way. It was Catanzaro that knocked you out last year.
Yeah. Juve Stabia the year before. But we didn't beat Juve Stabia last season. We lost and drew. So it's time we end that.
We'll find out. But I guess you'll say Palermo first place, just like the last 5,000 years.
Of course. Yeah, look. In all seriousness, look, I'm a lot more cautious this year. Just because of the last couple of years I've been burnt. So I think we do go up, though. I mean, I know you think we will as well, because you told me your prediction about Palermo. So I know you think we'll go up. I think we'll go up as well at last. I mean, look, we're getting close. Eventually it will happen. And I think this year will be the year. So,
yeah. I mean, at least you're not the only City Group project in the second tier.
With Girona.
Girona is not going to play Deportivo unless it's in the Copa del Rey. But yeah, I guess speaking of Deportivo, obviously we're in La Liga, like the first division, unlike Palermo.
Oh man, I was hoping. So we were doing the La Pino Rosa show. I was hoping that both of us would go up, but only one of us.
Maybe if you continue the show with me, maybe we'll brought some good luck.
Maybe.
But I think obviously for Deportivo, I won't speak on it too much, but I guess the good thing is that one, we're in La Liga. that's
what I want. I want Palermo to be in Serie A.
And then I think our first game is on a Monday night against Elche at home, and then we play Malaga away, and then it's Valencia at home as the first 3 games of the season.
That reminds me, actually. So our first game is Juve Stabia, but our second game is Arezzo away. So newly promoted team away for the second game.
The third game.
Let me check. So I'll tell you our first 5 games. I'll tell you what. Let me get them up. So we have Lecce in the Coppa Italia before the first game. Lecce in the Coppa Italia. No, we're at home. Actually, we're at home because Lecce are having this. They're having this because usually the lower ranked team plays away in the Coppa Italia, but we're at home because Lecce are having their stadium renovated. So that'll be good.
On your students.
Mate, I mean Lecce survived relegation by a point last season, so maybe. First game Juve Stabia at home. Second game Arezzo away. Third game Sampdoria at home. Fourth game, and this is a team that I really hope we beat, Avellino away. And then the 5th game, Padova at home. So that's our start to the season.
And then last season, I think you were unbeaten until The ninth
Monza
game
until Monza.
was what, game 5?
Oh no, sorry, it was Catanzaro.
Yeah, that's how, that was like what, game 8?
It was in October. See, last season, do you know what I think really cost us? What really cost us was that October that we had. Our October last year was dreadful. It was our worst period of the season. October. That for me is what cost us. That October period.
Yeah, and then for Deportivo, now in La Liga after 8 years, I said this to Keeks, St. Keeks, and even to Steve. This is probably the best 3 teams that got promoted to La Liga. You have Santander, Deportivo, and Malaga. And I actually think all 3 can survive. I think the team that might go down, the most likely one, if I had to pick just one team, it's probably Levante.
Levante, they just about stayed up last. Same with Osasuna, they stayed up on goal difference.
But
last
then
season.
I saw what SB is going to Ipswich. One of their star players. I think Eta Eong might leave, maybe. So I think Levante are probably my. If there's one team I'll pick to go down right now, is probably them. But as for Deportivo, we signed Jensen from Bayern Munich youth team.
Oh.
We beat Lazio to a signing, actually, which Steve is very...
Really? Wait, was he going to go to Lazio? Wow.
That was the other team in for Jensen, like a Danish attacking player. But then, obviously, I think Deportivo just has the pull over Lazio, which probably that's what Steve is...
That's quite fun. That's quite funny, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve's obviously a Bayern fan as well, so he'll know about Jensen. Like,
yeah. And then who else? We signed I don't know how to pronounce his name, a Dutch player who is, I guess, decent. I forgot, Turn Tija Hord or something. And then obviously the big one, Obama who? Obama what? Obama
I actually can't believe you signed Aubameyang. I really can't. I never thought Deportivo would sign Aubameyang.
Especially last season when we started the show and all that, and then fast forward about a year later, Deportivo have Aubameyang and Palermo are still in Serie B.
Listen, Poyampalo is better than Aubameyang in 2026. So no, I'm joking. Look, it's a big name. Obviously, for me as a Spurs fan, I'm not his biggest fan because of the whole Arsenal thing, but. For Deportivo, look, that's a big name for you to bring in. And, he was at, where was he? Marseille. Was he at Marseille last season?
Oh, he scored against Newcastle.
He did, that's right.
Times.
That's right. So...
Yeah, he did. He did both times, scored against Newcastle, that one game.
There you... So, look, hopefully for you guys, for your sake, you can still get something out of him. But in terms of just the name alone, it's a big name coming to Depor.
Yeah.
I mean, Palermo wanted to, there were rumors at the start of the window. We wanted to do it with El Shaarawy, but it seems like he's going to Saudi, apparently. So, the funniest one I saw, which obviously I was hoping it was true, but apparently at the start of the window, there were rumors Palermo approached Dybala to bring him back while still in Serie B. But obviously he's just renewed with Roma. And, obviously that if that's true, I respect the ambition, but it just wasn't in Serie B. It just wasn't going to happen.
That's why you should have been promoted. Probably will happen. But I think for Deportivo, I think the expectation is just don't get relegated, I would say.
I think for that first season, I think if Palermo went up, I'd say the same thing. Yeah. Just the first season, just avoid relegation. And then hopefully if you do that, after that, you can work your way up the league and just get better.
Yeah, because I think obviously the Galician derby doesn't happen until a few days after New Year's.
Celta Vigo. Yeah, the derby's back.
It's back. It's the first game against them is in January, so still a long way to go. And then the return game, I think the Coruña game is in April, and the Vigo game is in January, just after New Year, or when everyone comes back. Or whatever.
Here's another one as well. Have you seen your new away kit?
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh, that away kit's so
one?
good.
The black one.
Yes, with like blue emblems.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the new one is like with the St. Andrew's cross. Like it's like a blue X, white shirt, blue X.
Oh, nice. But that I love that away. That away kit looks so good that you got.
Yeah, 90 euros. So it's either I save up or but I think what do you call this? I think for the first season just survive. So I'm not going to have the expectation of, oh, we should do what a certain club in the northeast of England should do in their first season. Like I think be a bit more humble and calm. I would take 17th. I'll be honest. I do think actually all three promoted teams can actually survive in La Liga because Deportivo I think are the most balanced team. I think Malaga is also quite balanced as a team, even though they went through the playoff. I think if Santander could actually defend, I think they will.
They probably need to sign some defenders, to be honest.
Yeah, but
I actually think with Depor, if you keep, I'm guessing you're going to keep hold of Hernandez now.
It seems like I think
so. If you keep hold of him, you know he's for me. He's obviously the linchpin to your sort of team.
And then we have Bill Nasogo, the young player from Cameroon who did well in the final few games of the season. Soriano's still there. David Mayer is still there. We have a new goalkeeper. It's the relegated with Mallorca. Leo. So that's I guess an improvement as well in the goalkeeping. So now we have Ferlo, Roman, and Herman as the three goalkeepers, but I do think maybe one of them goes. Well, probably not Roman, but I think there's defenders. I know sometimes I saw like Morata might be linked.
Morata.
I think now with Aubameyang, I think that's the forward line sort of signing. Right. And then for defense, I'm trying to remember if there's any major ones, but I think overall for Deportivo, I think it's more just survive the first season in La Liga. I think if there's three teams right now, pretty early to call to get relegated, I think it would be Levante, Elche, and if you want a big name going down, it will probably be Sevilla. I think those currently are my three to go down, but obviously there's still like more than a month or so of the transfer window. So I would go with Levante, Elche, and Sevilla if I want to put a big name to go down from La Liga.
Sevilla have just, like Spurs, sort of. They've just avoided it the last couple of years.
Oh, at least they didn't finish 17th.
That's true. They somehow.
But I think if there's a team, like a big team that might go down, I think it'll probably be them. Even though I know Deportivo are a big team, but I think in terms of the financial stuff, I think
historically, Deportivo are the biggest out of all of them, historically.
Probably, but Sevilla do have Europa League.
Oh, yeah, besides Sevilla, of course.
But, I mean, between Deportivo, Santander, and Malaga, obviously Deportivo are the biggest because they are the only ones in that three teams that actually won the La Liga, and at least in recent times, well, 2000, but still. I think Santander, if they can actually be good defensively, which I don't know they will, I think they just have to be better defensively to survive. I think if there's one of the three that got promoted to go down, I might unfortunately say Santander, but I do think all three can survive.
What's crazy as well is you said this before. Malaga and Deportivo have gone up together,
and gone down together,
and all the way up to La Liga, all the way up. So it's incredible.
And then, so I do think overall, I think this is probably the best three that got promoted to La Liga in quite a while, and yeah, we'll see how the season goes. Obviously, don't have to worry about Europe with Deportivo. But don't worry, there's another team that I support doesn't have to worry about Europe too. But so do you.
Me too. I have no teams in Europe either this season. Yeah. So.
But And we both got knocked out in the same round, so it didn't actually mean much. But
yeah, I mean, hopefully Palermo and Depor both just get the signings they need, and hopefully, yeah, we both. I mean, hopefully you guys stay up and we get promoted this season. So
I think if I have to
crossed.
call an early prediction, I'll probably say like maybe 14th for Deportivo. I wouldn't mind that. I think maybe not be in a relegation battle eventually at the end of the season. I think that'll be good. And hopefully that doesn't mean that we'll be far down in the league to not really be in a relegation battle.
Yeah, I mean, with Obama, who you should be fine. But
yeah, with Obama, who Obama what Obama Garnacho to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
By
the way, Aston Villa they sign all the rejects: Rashford, Sancho, now Garnacho. You're not Ronaldo.
Chelsea to Villa.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the one regarding Newcastle Spurs transfer, but the fact that Garnacho actually got a move.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that he keeps pulling this off.
And Unai Emery actually wanted him.
Look, Unai Emery knows how to make players better. But I think I don't know if he can do it with Garnacho. I'll be honest. I really don't think so.
I mean, they might get Nicholas Jackson as well potentially.
Oh.
So Jackson, Garnacho, potential front line for Villa.
But you know who they got? They got Manzambi, who should have joined Newcastle apparently.
Yeah, but I think you know what? If I have to get another hijack like that, but they get Garnacho, you know what? I'll take it. I think that's a silver lining for me.
That's a good trade-off.
Yeah, for me, I'm fine with that. And obviously, we signed a few players, but I guess the first signing we'll talk about is, from Newcastle to Tottenham, even though in an interview before actually signing, he said he wants to go back to Italy at some point. So I don't know how excited he wants to be at Spurs. Maybe I feel like it'll be another 2-3 years or something like that. But I guess the big one, or one of the big ones, it's not really a big story because it happened like almost a month ago. But Sandro Tonali is not at Newcastle anymore. He's at Spurs. So he went from 12th to 17th.
I'll be honest. Before I kind of troll you or whatever. I'll be honest with you, right? I did not see this coming at all. Not one part of me thought Spurs would sign Tonali. And not one part of me thought that, Tonali would join Spurs, even if we did go in for him. This, in a good way, has shocked me in so many ways. Obviously, Tonali, there was rumours of him leaving Newcastle. He was linked with, Man City and everything. I just never thought, especially without Europe, I just never thought we would pull that off. Even when I literally messaged you when the rumors first came out, I was like, yeah, right. Like, no way. But it actually happened. And Sandro, who, as you know, I love for Italy. I said to you that you got him for the club, but I got him for the national team. Well, I've got him for both now. And honestly, this is the perfect signing we needed in the midfield. Because obviously we'll talk about our other signings soon. But on Tonali, the perfect number 6, 6/8, you could say.
I would say more.
You could say that, but I kind of see him as a 6. I mean, he said that himself, that he sees him as a 6. Really good. Obviously, everybody knows how good Tonali is. I know, as you all know, he didn't have his best season last season compared to the season before when you won the cup and everything. But this is Tonali we're talking about. He is a top player. And I've said this so many times, way before he joined Spurs. For me, only behind Rodri. I know Rodri might leave now, but only behind Rodri, for me, he is the best number 6 or that type of player in the Premier League. He's better than Declan Rice. He's better than all of these players. For me, it shouldn't even be a question. If you actually watch football and understand it, you'll understand that players like Tonali are better than Declan Rice. For me, it's not even a debate. So he's a Spurs player, and I still can't believe it's real. I really can't believe it's real that Tonali is actually our player. And obviously, look, it's a record signing, 100 million. We've been told by multiple managers that we would never spend, especially Ange, that we would never spend 100 million on a player. And I'll be honest with you, right? My honest opinion is this. As much as Tonali is a fantastic signing, and it is a statement signing, for me, the reason, and I'll get to our other signings in a bit and the amount of money we're spending, the reason why Spurs are doing this, essentially, spending money, breaking our transfer record twice in the space of a week, is because we're desperate. Almost avoiding relegation last season has made them absolutely shit the bed. The ownership, the board, whoever it is, they have shat themselves. They almost got relegated. They're scared. They're terrified, petrified, all the words you want to use. So it's meant for once, they've gone out and they've got not only got signings in early, but they've gone and got some proper signings that actually elevate our in this case, the midfield in Sandro Tonali. If you offered me kind of within semi-realistic terms, right? If you offer me any midfielder, Tonali's probably the first name. And look, maybe I'm a bit biased because of the Italian link, sure, but man, I've always been a massive fan of Tonali, and to see him join my club, it's phenomenal. And I know what you said. Look, he said he wants to go back to Italy, but he's Italian. Most Italian players don't want to leave Italy in the first place, so I'm not surprised. Like, I always kind of knew that was the case, but. Man, Tonali, when it look, obviously it's been a bit of time, so the reaction isn't really raw. But at the time, if we'd done a stream at that time, man, you would have seen, like, honestly, man, like I was on cloud nine. Like, it was probably the most kind of like pleasure I've got from anything to do with Spurs for a long time, probably since the Europa League. Honestly, man, Tonali for me is probably the best signing I've seen us make in my lifetime, personally. So, like, in terms of not the player coming in where they come in and they get better, kind of signing as that sort of proven player. Because obviously we've made signings like Son, we signed Ericsson and everything. When we signed them, they weren't kind of that player that they became. Tonali, in terms of players coming in when they are that player, Tonali for me, he's up there, if not the best. So, man, it's incredible. But I have to ask you, he's left Newcastle to join Spurs. I'll be honest, right? As much as I'm a Spurs fan, he has joined Spurs who finished below Newcastle. So surely for you as a Newcastle fan, it must be annoying that if he was going to leave, you would have hoped he would have joined, I don't know, Madrid, Man City, whoever, because I think he does have the quality to play for those clubs. So surely for you as a Newcastle fan, you must be a bit annoyed that he's gone to Spurs, of all places.
I mean, maybe he's going there. Third time's a charm, From that, 17th, 18th. Maybe that'll be my prediction. That'll be the trade-off. We let go of Tonali, but you get relegated. You know what? I'll take that. But I think overall, I don't see Tonali as like sort of the saga that happened last season with the transfer. So I don't really mind it too much, I'll be honest. Like, if he was to leave, I think probably is the right time to leave, and we'll talk about some Newcastle stuff a bit later, so I won't be much in depth with it now. But I think Tonali going to Spurs, I think is a good signing for them. I would still say he's more of an 8 than a 6, but
I think he can play both. But he's been signed as a 6 for us because of obviously the other player, the other midfielder, that Fernandez, who he brought in. So
like 85 or something.
Yeah, which I'll get more into in a bit.
Yeah. So I think Tonali will be a good signing. Whether that actually means Spurs actually don't get relegated, at least we'll see. But I think overall, he'll be a good signing for Spurs. So I would say no love lost for Tonali, unlike last season's transfer.
Yeah, obviously, just based on kind of the quality of Tonali, like you must be gutted that he's gone, just based on how good he is and kind of what he done for Newcastle and everything. But apparently, De Zerbi was a massive factor in this because they're both from Brescia. They both knew each other, and apparently, that's what convinced Tonali to kind of join us. Apparently, so
what if De Zerbi gets sacked?
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Probably, if not this season, it will happen next season when Spurs inevitably do what Conte happened,
I could see it.
and
Yeah.
whoever else. It'll be some spectacular fall from
Just
Spurs.
melt, just like just melt down.
If not this coming season, it'll be next season. It'll have knowing De Zerbi as well.
Yeah, I agree. De Zerbi never lasts more than a year at most clubs, so
Yeah, I
think you could well be right, but we'll have to see. He's having a massive say on all the signings, and Tonali was obviously his number one target, and we got him in. So, yeah, man, look, it's great for me, but I'll be honest, I'm still very surprised. I'm still very surprised that we brought him in, and that he's, like I said, left Newcastle and joined Spurs. But apparently the wages are, a lot higher. Apparently, we've offered him crazy money. And that's part of the reason why I think as well he's joined. So
yeah, I think I don't know how much of an increase in the wages is, but I think that also means that for Spurs, I guess we'll talk about Spurs a little bit more beyond Tonali, but I think with him being on higher wages, I would say, I think that also means that Spurs have to make sure that actually those type of signings actually work. I'm not saying Tonali's not going to work, but
yeah, of course. Because we had a very, obviously, as you all know, Spurs had this stupid, strict wage structure. We've broken that this summer with Tonali. Like, he's walked in as our highest paid player.
And he's not even played a single minute yet.
Well, he did it. He played against MK Dons the other day. So, yeah.
That doesn't really count, but I think, if you put a player on that amount of wages, I think that also means, he has to work out.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it would be funny if it doesn't work out and you get relegated. That would be even more funny. But I think knowing that you've broken the wage structure now, I think that means he has to make sure that he performs. I think he will. But now I think with other players like Mateus Fernandes, what the heck? And I know Vicario might leave. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of our windows so far, kind of like I said about Palermo, some very good positives, but also a few frustrations.
I think we still have Richarlison.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll get to that. I will get to that. I do have quite a bit to say about that. But in terms of our other midfielder, Mateus Fernandes from West Ham has joined. Scored a banger. I don't know if you saw it. Scored a banger against MK Dons in that preseason game. Look, Fernandes, I'll be honest, is he a good player? Yes. Was he probably West Ham's one of, if not their best player last season in a terrible West Ham team? Yes. Obviously, they got relegated. But for me, what's that?
Relegated with Southampton. He got relegated.
Here we go. I was waiting for this.
That's what you never know.
Third time lucky for him to not get relegated. But Fernandes, look, he's obviously a good player, but for me, I think we've massively overpaid for him. For me, people will say Tonali's an overpayment in the current market with this massive inflation. I don't think so. Fernandes, though, I think is a massive overpayment. Obviously, in terms of the profile, he's definitely the type of midfielder that we need. Obviously, a ball-playing 8 sort of player. He's definitely, profile-wise, what we need in the midfield. However, I don't know. Look, it's hard to judge him because obviously he played for a team that got relegated last season and everything. So, if Spurs are going to do a lot better next season under De Zerbi, we'll kind of know if we're playing well, we'll kind of understand how good Fernandes actually is. But Fernandes for me is a big gamble. Just 85 million for a player that, has got relegated twice, been in struggling teams. It's a big gamble, but apparently De Zerbi really wanted him. And I'll get more into this in a minute in terms of backing the manager, because it's what I've been screaming for Spurs to do for years. De Zerbi really wanted Fernandes, and you have to back the manager. And like I said, I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think he's a very good player. That goal alone in pre-season, if he can do that, then fantastic. But I don't know. Fernandes, I'm a little bit unsure on. I hope obviously he turns out well. But we'll have to, for me, Fernandes, I'm sort of wait and see. But obviously, for me, the main positive with Fernandes is that he's the type of midfielder that we needed. He's profile-wise, he is the correct fit. I just want to see just how good he is, if that makes sense. And we'll have to see on that one. Big up to Anthony as well. Obviously, I don't know if you were watching, but we were just talking about Tonali, which I mean, I'm still over the moon about that we got him. So yeah, big up to Anthony. So yeah, that's Fernandez. Obviously, massive midfield rebuild there. We needed it. We needed players that can actually pass the ball in the midfield. Obviously, with Madison coming back now as well, hopefully that will sort of be the midfield three that we see on a regular basis. In terms of the defense, obviously there's been a lot of movement there. Another former Newcastle player has joined Dubravka.
Dubravka.
As like a backup keeper. Look, it's just one of those.
Also got relegated.
Also got relegated. So look, I mean, with the goalkeepers, it seems like you said, Vicario is going to leave, which I'll be honest, I know a lot of Spurs fans want him gone. But I'm a bit gutted because look, I know Vicario better in terms of, I watched him for Empoli. When we signed him, I knew he was a good signing. And at his best, Vicario is a fantastic goalkeeper. Didn't have a good season last season, just like every Spurs player. I mean, look at Porro, right? Porro was one of your best players at the World Cup. Last season for Spurs, he was atrocious, just like every player. But Porro, as I know and at his best is a fantastic player. And I'm hoping that we get, obviously, the Porro from the World Cup at Spurs next season.
Oh, wait. Speaking of the World Cup, conceded 1 goal.
Exactly.
We've actually beaten Italy 2000. I think we're better than Italy 06 now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That's another
conversation. Best attack, Argentina with actually a pretty good Messi. The literal only guy that scored against Spain is the
Catalari. Yeah. Better than 2006 Italy. Nah.
I would put that in the debate now. Spain.
It's definitely a debate. Maybe we could do another show about that whole debate.
One day.
100%. That's what I was saying. De Zerbi apparently was the main reason as to why we were able to get him in, Tonali. But yeah, like I was saying, with the defense, Dubravka's obviously joined. Vicario, like I said, at his best for me is a great goalkeeper. It's just looking like, the fans, have got on his back, and like it just seems like they're gonna part ways.
I also saw Dragushin, I think it's on loan now. But
yeah, I was gonna come to that. Yeah, so obviously with the goalkeepers, it looks like Kinski's gonna start as number 1 next season, which my thoughts are, if he continues his form from last season, then fantastic.
As long as he doesn't play at the Wanda.
As long as he doesn't play that, yes. But Kinski, at the end of the season, I know he had that Atletico game, but since then, incredibly, he was probably our best player at the end of last season. Like, he was on fantastic form. So if he keeps up that form, then for sure, he's 100% worth being the number 1. However, it's hard to say because it was a run of form. Will he continue it? I don't know. And obviously, Kinski's still very young, so we just don't know. So I think in terms of the goalkeeping situation, if
you have a Czech and a Slovak now.
We do, yeah. We do actually. Czechoslovakia as our goalkeepers. So if Vicario is to leave and we are going to make Kinski the number 1, it is a big. For me, it kind of like Fernandez. It is a gamble, but like I said, on the basis of his form last season, if he continues that, then he's 100%. He's worth being the number 1. But the question is, will he continue that? It is a question mark. In terms of the centre backs, like you mentioned, Dragusin. He has gone on loan. It's a loan with an obligation to buy. So it's basically a permanent sale for us. To Fiorentina, Paratici's come in and signed him. It's a shame because, as you'll know, Dragusin with Romania and stuff. Like, again, at his best, a very good player. I was happy when we signed him. I watched him at Genoa. Very good defender. It just hasn't worked out at Spurs. He's had that bad injury. He's just never really got into the team. And it's a shame because I knew when we signed him, he was a good player. It's just a shame that it hasn't really worked out at Spurs. And it's not a surprise to see us kind of sell him. In terms of the other ones, Romero, there's obviously a lot of speculation. Romero's one, if he leaves, I'm going to be gutted. And I know, again, a lot of fans are very harsh on Romero. The guy's a winner. The guy has so much quality. He literally carried us in that Europa League run 2 seasons ago now. Romero, for me, Romero, again, you have to if you understand football, you'll know that Romero at his best is one of the top centre backs in the world. For me, if he's going to leave based on the fact that, and this is what I believe, based on the fact that he's called out the club from last season, it's just very frustrating because for me, you want to keep your best players. Romero is one of our best players, but based on pure quality wise. So for me to see, I know a lot of fans want him gone, which I think is harsh. For me, I'm going to be gutted to see him go if he does go, because I think he's one, again, quality wise at his best. If you get the best out of Romero, you got one of the best centre backs in world football. Obviously, like every player last season, he was bad. Yes, he was terrible last season, like everybody. But it's Romero we're talking about, and for me, it would be a shame. Obviously, he's looking like he might join Inter, but we'll have to see how that works out. It seems like he's very likely to leave at this point, which is a shame, like I said. But we have got Van Hecke, who, like I said, kind of like Fernandez. Van Hecke for me, obviously, all the stats from last season are fantastic. Like, he had a very good season with Brighton. However, if Romero leaves and Van Hecke is obviously the replacement, I don't think it's an upgrade. That's the thing. However, De Zerbi really wanted Van Hecke, and like I said, like I've been crying for years for Spurs to do. We have to back the manager, and Van Hecke apparently is a player just like Tonali, Fernando, all of the signings. Van Hecke is somebody that he really wanted, and like I said, Van Hecke was very good last season. So, on that basis, he's a very good signing. I'm just a bit gutted that, we're going to probably lose Romero, if that makes sense. So, like I said, Van Hecke, really good signing. I'm all for it. And like I said, it's back in the manager, which is what we want. So, that's that. Van Hecke, obviously, it's just a shame. Well, I'll be right back. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yeah. I think with Spurs, I think the signings look pretty good, but it's more about can they actually perform, because Simmons is still out. Because I think Spurs actually made some good signings last summer, and yet they still finished 17th. I know, different manager and whatever, but I think there's still a lot more to prove at Spurs, that can the players actually turn up for the team, because over the last 2 years, apart from winning the Europa League, have been really bad for Spurs, I would say. So, last summer you got Simmons, you got, who else from last summer?
Simmons, Palhinha, we got Kolo Muani and Kudus, who hopefully is going to be back from injury.
So you still had a good team, yet you still finished 17th.
Yeah, I mean, look, last season was, obviously I explained all the issues many times. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying, Van Hecke, very good signing. It's just a shame that, we're going to probably lose Romero in that position. And the other player that we haven't now lost is Vuskovic. And look, Vuskovic is one I'm gutted about, because everybody knows Vuskovic, one of the most highly rated prospects in Europe. Obviously had that season at Hamburg last season. It's gutting because he never even played a game for us. He's obviously joined Brighton in a permanent deal. It's annoying because, like I said, I was one of the only things that kind of kept me positive about Spurs last season was Vuskovic, kind of the season he was having. I was hoping, kind of in my head, I was like, look, he's going to come back this season, probably be part of the first team and stuff. But apparently he kicked up a massive fuss and, did a sort of mini Isak situation where he kind of, was liking posts on social media about, rumors of him leaving. Apparently, he, was seemingly, from what we know, apparently was very arrogant and too big for his boots. So in some ways I can say good riddance, because apparently, this guy clearly doesn't have, an attitude that is, good. Clearly he's, way too arrogant for somebody of his age. But it's a shame because he's definitely, for me, he's probably going to go on to be a top player. And it's a shame that, we haven't been able to keep him. And essentially he's forced to move through, which is annoying. We'll have to see. I mean, we do have a sell-on clause and matching rights. So if a team bids for him in the future, we can match it. But I don't know, man. Vuskovic, obviously, I'm gutted that we've lost him, but at the same time, part of me is like good riddance because this guy's, I don't know. I'll be honest, based on what I've heard, all the things that have come out about him, his, forcing the move, kind of like liking the posts. I don't know if this guy's going to go as far as people think in his career, but look, I could be wrong about that. I mean, I still think there's a very good chance he will go very far, but. We'll have to see. But yeah, Vuskovic, I have a really sour taste in my mouth about that situation. But yeah, in terms of the rest of the defense, Robertson joined free. Look, I'll be honest. I think he's past his best. Obviously, we need him and if a doggy stays fit, I like a doggy. If a doggy stays fit, then happy days. Robertson's obviously as good as like a rotational player. Obviously just left Liverpool after so long on a free. So I don't know. Robertson, it's just one of those stopgaps. I think he's a stopgap just simply because of his age. I wish we were getting prime Robertson. That's what with this Robertson signing, I'm like, if only it was Robertson of like 5 years ago, then happy days. But look, definitely adds, leadership in the team, which is something we lacked last season. So I guess that's good. But yeah, Robertson, probably past his best, but as a kind of rotational option, definitely a decent one to have there. So yeah, that's sort of the signings we've made. Overall, we've had a good window so far. Definitely made some of the best signings I've ever seen us made in Tonali. So that's that. But we still have no bloody attack. We still don't have a team that can score goals.
Richarlison. What do you mean?
Yeah, and guess Richarlison. I'm gonna talk. I'll talk about Richarlison now, because look, there's been lots of rumors. Savinio, Krupi, even of Bournemouth. You've had Rafa Leao even was linked with us. Nusa for Norway, who obviously was good with the World Cup with Norway. We've been linked with a lot of attackers, but we haven't brought in any yet. And my frustration is this: the attack is the most weak point of our squad. Our attack is the worst I think it's been in many, many, many years. We don't have anyone that can score goals. We don't have any players that really kind of get you off your feet and excite you, apart from Kudus. And Kudus was injured last season, and he's not back yet. So, same with Kulusevski. Kulusevski is still injured. So, our best attackers are injured, right? The ones that aren't injured are quite frankly terrible. You got Tell, Odobert, who he's also injured. So another player. You can't even talk about Odobert. Richarlison, who apparently Richarlison is refusing to leave the club again. For the third straight summer, he is refusing to just leave. I'm telling you, right? Obviously, look, nothing against Richarlison. Look, he's got, obviously he's got really good passion. Was actually our top scorer last season, so I can't really hold too much against him, but we both know that he is not good enough to take us to that next level as a starting striker. For me, if we're not going to sell Solanke, which seemingly we're not, we have to sell Richarlison. We can't afford to go into the season with these two players as our strikers. It can't happen. And I'm telling you, if Richarlison not leaving prevents us signing a striker, we're in trouble. We're fucked in that position. It's an absolute disaster. So we need to bring in a striker. This is the thing, right? The midfield, the midfield signing's fantastic. The defensive signing's fantastic, right? We've done a lot of improvements. We've rebuilt those areas of the squad. Fantastic. But the area that needed addressing the most still has not been addressed. And that is the attack. And we need not just options, we need starters. We need players that can walk in and be the starting attackers that can score goals. Right now, that is not the case. We can't have Tell. We can't have Richarlison. We can't have Solanke. We can't rely on these guys. They can't score goals. We need to bring in for me, at least 3 players. We need at least 3 players in to come in that attack, and we'll see what happens. Look, if Richarlison stays and we get a striker, it is what it is. It is what it is. But if Richarlison staying prevents us signing a striker, oh my god, this is a disaster. In terms of the wingers, more than anything, we need a left winger. We have to bring a left winger in that can score goals. Leao, look, I know Anthony. Look, you're talking. Yeah, look, Leao. I know. I agree with you. Leao has not been good for a while, and look, his attitude clearly isn't the best. And he wouldn't be my first. He definitely wouldn't be my first choice. But Leao is way better than what we have. Way better than what we have. I mean, even at his worst, he'll still get you at least 10 goals in a season, 8 to 10. I think he got 8, somewhere between 8 and 10 last season. So even then, at his worst, he's still putting up better numbers than our current attackers. So that says it all. We're linked with Savinho. Savinho I would take, just based on the fact, again, much better than what we have. But Savinho's numbers aren't good. They're not good numbers. I mean, obviously, if we sign Savinho, my hope would be that we get the Girona Savinho, who put up fantastic numbers in La Liga.
3 years ago?
3 years ago, I think. 2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Savinho, he doesn't really play much at Man City, so maybe that's a contributing factor to his numbers. The one I really want is Krupi. Krupi, for me, I mean, I know he's had one really good season, but for me, he was phenomenal. Every time I watched him at Bournemouth, he was brilliant last season. And
technically, he scored the goal that helped a certain club win the Premier League.
Well, against City.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even remind me. Once the Prem comes back, they're all going to be, hyping themselves up again. And just so you know, there is a 0% chance that Vinicius Jr. joins Arsenal. 0. So I'll just put that out there. I know it's David Ornstein, but what a stupid rumor. Seriously, look. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But I can feel very confident there is about a 0% chance of that happening. So there you go. Yeah, we need attackers. It's as simple as that. And we need to have them in before the start of the season because we can't. Look, you might get lucky, Newcastle. You might face us when we have Richarlison as our starting striker if we haven't brought in the attackers by that point.
It's actually your first home game.
First home game, second game of the season. Exactly. So that's what it is for Spurs, Until we get those attackers in, I can't call this window a full success. Obviously, like I said, Tonali, Fernandes, all these players, fantastic. But the most pressing issue in the squad, as of today, hasn't been addressed. And that needs to be addressed before the start of the season, which I'm hopeful it will, based on, the way we've actually been moving for once this window. So let's see. All I'm going to say is let's see. Hopefully we get some more sales. Hopefully we can finally get Richarlison out the door. Hopefully we can finally get the likes of Tell out the door. I'll be honest, right? If you look at our left wing options, right, you got Tell, you got Odebert who's injured, but you got Tell there, you got Mikey Moore, and I'll be honest, right, Mikey Moore, had a good loan at Rangers, is still very young, has a lot of potential. I'll be honest, if you're giving me the option of Mikey Moore or Tell or whoever, I'm picking Mikey Moore. Even I know he's still still quite young, he still needs to develop and everything, but I'm taking current Mikey Moore over all of these guys. There's for me, right. Obviously, I'm hopeful we will, and we really need to. But if we don't sign a left winger, there's no point in sending Moore out on loan again because he's better than the options we had at the club last season. So, if we're not gonna sign people in that position, which would be a disaster if we don't, and I'm hopeful we will. But if we don't, by anyhow, just give the spot to Mikey Moore. You might as well give the spot to Mikey Moore because I'm telling you, he will offer more than the current players we have there in those positions. So let's see what happens. Obviously, in terms of other sales, hopefully we can maybe get Richarlison out. Hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully as well. No, I wouldn't say hopefully, but Bergvall has been linked to Newcastle. Actually, Bergvall. There's been a lot of talk of him leaving. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I personally, if a good offer comes in, I probably would take it. Personally, I know a lot of people don't want to lose him, but I'll be honest, Bergval, I don't know. I don't know if he's quite as good as people say. Our fans, he's one that I think our fans massively overhype. So, look, I'm not saying I would definitely sell him because we obviously need depth in that position. But for me, if Newcastle or Forest, whoever, if they offer 60 million, I would take that personally. But we'll have to see if the club sell him or don't sell him. But I mean, I'm not saying I would take. I probably wouldn't take on. I probably wouldn't take under 60 million. But if someone offered 60 million, I probably am taking it for Bergval, if I'm honest. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what else happens. But yeah, that's our window so far. Let's just hope we get those attackers in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Spurs at least don't finish 17th again. Or actually,
one game a week. One game a week, De Zerbi. We will be there.
then the following season, some sort of disaster strikes for Spurs, like
yeah,
exactly. Something. But I guess from Spurs to Newcastle, I guess the one thing I will say with Newcastle is that for the upcoming season, I mean, we've lost Gordon to Barcelona, £80 million Gordon, if I like to call him. I think he'll actually do well.
By the way, on Gordon, you got a very good deal on him. What, I think they overpaid for him, Gordon.
I think he'll actually do all right at Barcelona. I actually think.
Interesting. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Except when they play Depor. But I think we've let Gordon go for 80 million, Tonali for 100 million, and maybe if they actually offer up the money, because they're offering just 70 million, still, might even be Bruno.
Yeah. I mean, Bruno, I'll be honest, Bruno is a player I never saw leaving Newcastle. I thought he was like, that one guy where he just like loves the club and like
That's Dan Burton.
Dan Burton, yeah. I just thought, see, Bruno's a strange one because obviously he's kind of like the glue. I think he's kind of the glue to your whole team, really. I think he's a fantastic player. I would hate it if he joins Arsenal. I'd hate it.
Imagine.
What's your opinion? Do you really think Newcastle are going to sell him and Tonali in the same window?
I mean, right now the midfielders we get right now, if let's say Bruno's gone, it's Sean Stern, who's an former Ajax now player, and I didn't watch the preseason game against Gateshead because it's pretty difficult for me to find one. But from what I heard, Stern is actually did really well against National League Gateshead. So I'll see how maybe preseason is like against like Valencia, against Leverkusen, against Strasbourg, even Everton we play in preseason. And then we have Bamba, the guy from Monaco, we just signed the other day. And knowing Strasbourg Steve, who is like, I think on Tomori, the only thing is that actually I don't know how old Tomori is.
10, you don't want Tomori, trust me. Anthony knows as well. You don't want Tomori. Look, a couple years ago, yeah, like 3 years ago, yes, but now, nah. I mean, Tomori's dropped off.
I mean, the last Milan signing or player we got from Milan actually did all right for us in Malaga.
Oh yeah, ciao, yeah.
So we'll see, but I think we have Bamba from Monaco, we have Stern from Ajax, and then obviously there's still a month or so to go with the window, so can't really say for certain how the midfield will look like. And then the attack, we have Toure, the guy from Ivory Coast from Hoffenheim. So, and the last player we got from Hoffenheim was Joe Linton back then. And then we got, trying to remember what other players we got.
You're about to sign someone from Monaco?
Well,
midfielder.
Bamba. Oh,
Bamba. That's it, yeah.
Maybe, but I know he didn't have a good World Cup, which is fine because Senegal were terrible at the World Cup anyway. I mean, Pap Chow's already been sacked by Senegal. No surprise. But I think we also got Erwan Jeon from Tottenham.
Oh yeah, the
in
goalkeeper.
Liga,
Yeah,
the
but
goal-
I think you guys need a new keeper. Like, I mean, it looks like your target for like 3 years, James Trafford, is joining Leeds.
yeah, but I think we probably aren't going to pursue, but I guess we'll see. I think also in the preseason game, people say Nick Pope was terrible, so but that's not really a
I think
revelation. Everyone
Pope's
knew that.
past his best. He's
Yeah, I'm fine with selling him to Ipswich or whichever team. I think that sort of thing, or make him the training ground goalkeeper. I don't know, but I think
training ground goalkeeper.
what do you call this? Isn't that like Fraser Foster for Spurs?
Well, it used to be. Well, now it's going to be Dubravka, I think now. Or
Well, I think he's good enough for us.
well, he'll be actually no. Yeah, you're right. Dubravka. If Vicario leaves, Dubravka will be second, and then third will be Brandon Austin, who only played one Premier League game, and it was against Newcastle, and actually got man of the match in that game.
For you guys, but I think, but actually, what I noticed from our transfers compared to last summer, this summer we have a sporting director, which I think is a good plus compared to last time when Paul Mitchell left like pretty early in last summer's window, and you saw what sort of signings we got. We got Alanga, we got Wissa, Voltemada, trying to think who else, Malik Chow. At least those are the names I can
Ramsey
remember.
Right, in midfield.
Ramsdale. Oh yeah, Jacob Ramsey and Ramsdale. But Ramsdale is no longer here, thankfully. So based on that, and compare it to this summer's transfers, where we got Joan from Stade, Bamba from Monaco, Stern from Ajax, Torre from Hoffenheim, and all of them are like around 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
I think.
And they're not from the.
Yeah, I think Newcastle so far, your window kind of reminds me of the window that Spurs had a couple years ago where we just signed kids. But I think, to be honest, it's probably better because, I mean, Torre seems like a good player. Obviously, you mentioned Stern from Ajax. I mean, he seems like a good player. But I think I mean, it must be. I know you haven't mentioned this yet, but it must be frustrating. It must be really frustrating because, I mean, you've been getting hijacked left, like Manzambi, Victor Munoz as well. Like, why are you guys getting hijacked? You're getting hijacked so much. Like, what's going on?
The ones we're not getting hijacked are the ones that are not that. I mean, Manzambi and Munoz aren't really huge names, but I mean, they were at the World Cup. One of them is a World Cup winner now. Not Manzambi, but I think, what do you call this? The signings we are getting are the ones that are like, what do you call this? Not, I wouldn't say not well known, but like, they're kind of like, oh, okay, that sort of signing.
Yeah.
And knowing that you are signing a lot more younger players, my expectation is that will probably be like a Brighton sort of team, like where they have young players that come through, or but in our case is we buy them, and then maybe in 2, 3 or so years we sell them for even higher value. Because I think the most expensive signing we got so far, I think, was maybe 35, 40 million for Torre. So, and especially for 40 million for a left winger to replace. I think there's potential. It's whether
the thing is, though, what I would say is, like, obviously that's good. Like, these could easily be some fantastic, like, young players and stuff. But for you as a Newcastle fan, isn't it just frustrating? Because obviously all the promise, when the takeover happened, all the promise, that you're going to kind of kick on and kind of be the next Man City, whatever it is and everything. It's kind of now fast forward to now. You're selling, your best players. And, you're kind of in this position where, like, despite having the Saudi money, you kind of have to sell these players apparently because of PSR or whatever. What's your sort of thoughts? What's your thoughts on that kind of the position? Because for me, looking at Newcastle, I think you're in a position where, this isn't what was promised when the takeover happened for you guys.
Yeah, I think probably the first. Now I'm calling it phase.
Phase. Oh yeah, here we go.
First phase was, to kind of, I wouldn't say establish yourself because we didn't really establish, but got Champions League football, won a trophy, and all that sort of thing. So I think if we were to sell on Bruno, I mean, the only ones from like the takeover team is probably like Joe Willock, who I know is linked to somewhere, and then I think it's Besiktas, and then Jacob Murphy's not as good anymore. I think the one, well, Dan Burn actually was good at the World Cup when he came on against Mexico. So at least Tuchel was justified for bringing him. But it seems like Lewis Hall, knock on wood, is probably staying. I would say knock on wood, Livramento is staying, even though I know he was injured for most of last season. I actually saw we're linked to Andre Ratiu from Rayo Vallecano,
Oh,
which
nice.
whether that actually happens, I don't know, but I think that would actually be a good signing and a good step up for him from Rayo to Newcastle. But obviously, we'll see because I know Forest, I think, are also linked to him. But I think we still need to bring in some experienced players in.
I mean, especially if you're losing. I know you've lost Tonali, but if you lose Bruno as well, like, I'll be honest, I don't know how you replace that, because those were like probably your two best players, like on quality wise. Like, how do you kind of get around if you're losing these players? How do you replace them? Like,
Probably by signing Vinicius Junior, hijack Arsenal.
which, by the way, speaking of Bruno, I don't know what you think, but I don't think he's gonna go. I think he'll end up staying.
I think unless Arsenal put in the actual money, because I think we're pricing him at 100 million, which I'm like, yes, that should be probably the minimum for Bruno. Because when I talk to Steve, and shout out to Steve, he thinks he's 70, 60 mil. I'm like,
no
what?
way. And look, think the current market
Yep.
with all the inflation. I mean, Elliot Anderson is 116 million. You know,
one off the 115.
yeah.
But and then what? Morgan Rogers.
Oh yes. I mean, look, Morgan Rogers is a good player, but he's not worth anywhere near that.
Imagine you go from Rogers to Garnacho.
Oh, that's hilarious. If Garnacho's their sort of replacement for Rogers, then that's funny.
Or and they also lost Tielemans as well.
Yeah,
to Man United, which
they did.
That's probably one of the better signings. Tielemans for 35 to Man United. So I think for Newcastle, and also
big up to Matthew.
But I think for Newcastle, I think obviously we'll see what the final month or so of the transfer window is with signings. So I wouldn't say we're done with signings. And obviously we'll see what happens with Bruno, if he does go or not. If he was to go, I wouldn't be that upset because, well, obviously it depends. Because he hasn't come back from.
Now, surely losing Tonali and Brute, like, I'd be gutted if I was you. And I'll be angry because like, it would be like, kind of, what are the club doing? Because I thought with the takeover, this would never happen, sort of thing. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll be fine with selling him if we bring in someone around that experience, I would say. I think at the same time, I'm fine with progressing. I wouldn't say progressing.
Facts.
But like,
Facts. I mean, they think, I've seen it all online. They genuinely are believing that they're going to sign Vinicius Junior. It's crazy.
Me. But what do you call this? I think the big thing is, okay, for selling those sort of players that got the first 5 years of the club or so, I think then you might as well sell the rest of the team and actually make this a rebuild season and aim for Europa or Conference League. I'm fine. Obviously, Champions League would be great if we get Champions League again. Because once again, it's one game a week, Newcastle, and we know what Eddie Howe does with one game.
Yeah, I think it's funny you mentioned that, because that's another thing for me. I think Eddie Howe really should have been sacked at the end of last. I know you agree with me on that. He really should have been sacked at the end of last season.
I think
that's another factor. I'll be honest. I think Eddie Howe has too much power at Newcastle. I think.
Well, now obviously with all these young signings, he has to be forced to play them because now it's not if he doesn't have Bruno as well next season, then in a way he has to start these newer, younger
Yeah.
players, which I think is a good step towards what we might want to achieve. Because I actually saw we are the seventh highest revenue club in the Premier League behind the Big Six. So to be the seventh highest in that, I think is
But yeah, the world champs.
of course. But I think what do you call this? I think for us to be the seventh highest revenue club, now I'm talking about finances, but I think what do you call this? I think that helps us in a way. And if we are doing a new sort of strategy approach, now that Ross Wilson, the former not he was the one that signed Elliot Anderson with no sell on clause. Imagine
That's crazy.
So what do you call this? So I think obviously we'll see how all the new signings and whoever comes in and who leaves, how that plays out. I think in a way we're kind of like, especially if we lose Bruno, we'll probably be like a unknown commodity in the Premier League now because most of the main guys from the past 5 years or so aren't there anymore. So I think that maybe a good thing. I don't know.
Well, it depends. I think if these players, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't really watched the players you have signed, but if they are if they're really good players, then fantastic. But obviously, and this is what I criticized Spurs for before, like, you sign these players and you just don't know what to expect, sort of thing, like I said, when we had that window, we signed Bergvall, we signed Gray, we signed Odegaard, it's just too many of these kids, you signed, and then it just, your team kind of becomes a team where there's like, there's not enough experience, that there's not enough leadership, and it kind of like falls apart like Spurs. But then if they're very good players, if they're like for their age, if they're like outstanding, then obviously it can be a different story. But I just think with Newcastle, you have to be careful because Spurs done this for years, buy potential, until you get to a point where you got no kind of proven ready-made players left and you almost get relegated. And that's what happened with us. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only reason we got relegated, far from it. But it was a factor, this transfer policy of trying to buy young and sell them on, with a higher sell on value and everything, right? That policy was one of, not obviously, like I said, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why Spurs almost got relegated last season. So I'm warning you, if you're Newcastle, just be careful with that policy, because it's a risk. It's a risk. But then if it pays off, then it's fantastic if it pays off, and it very well could. So I think we'll just have to see. But I'll be honest, it must be with the hijacks. That must sting because I had to deal with it with Eze last season, which, to be honest, I don't think you're gonna. I'll be honest, you're not gonna have a hijack as painful as Eze, just because it was Arsenal. And I'm not saying Eze is like the best player ever, because you saw what happened in the Champions League final.
I think we got Bamba off of Sunderland in terms of transfers.
Really?
I don't know if that was true that he was also linked to them, but the fact that us without European football or managing to get ahead of them still kind of tells you.
Listen, you'll be happy to hear this. I think Sunderland are going to struggle a lot next season. With your second season syndrome plus 2 games a week. I'm not saying, look, sadly for you, they're not. I don't think they'll get relegated, but they're going to struggle. They will struggle next season.
Well, you know who I'm predicting for 20th anyway.
Hull?
No, you know who I'm predicting for 20th. Spurs. And it's not even Spurs.
20th.
You know who I'm predicting.
Ooh. Do I?
I mean, you just said their name.
Sunderland.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll do a show on closer to the season on all the predictions.
Next month's August.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely been an interesting window. Like I said, it's a shame you guys have had these hijacks, which that I know what I had it with Diaz with Liverpool. I had it with Eze. I had it with many others. Willian back in the day. Now you know how it feels.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how we cope with that, and I guess obviously with the players we actually did bring in, like a Toure, which Steve. Shout out to Steve as well. Toure, he says he rates him. He rates Joan, the goalkeeper that we signed, I asked him about Bamba, and knowing that Steve really loves the French league and all that, I'm probably saying that he rates Bamba as well. So we'll see. We'll see. But then Steve, at the same time, rating all these new signings, saying we're getting relegated. So which one is it?
Steve said you're getting relegated.
He thinks we'll probably struggle.
Yeah, but does he actually think you're going down?
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, look, big up to Steve, of course, but Newcastle getting relegated is crazy. It would be crazy.
What do you call this? I would say the 3 newly promoted sides, I would say, are pretty decent. I would say Hull City always seems to be.
Well, Hull. Have you seen what the owners? Have you seen the owner with Hull? I mean, I'll be honest. I respect it. I wish there was transparency like that.
Yeah, they got I think Maeda from Celtic.
Did you see the tweet? He put like the flags of their upcoming signings with like percentages. I wish that. See, for me, that sort of thing should be normalized. There should be. I want to see more transparency like that.
Yeah. And then obviously Ipswich seems like they're getting Carlos SB from Levante, and I actually don't know who the new manager is.
Gary O'Neill.
Oh yeah,
they're definitely getting relegated if it's Gary O'Neill. Yeah, forget it.
And then obviously Coventry with, I know Frank Lampard hasn't been the best Premier League manager, but I mean, what do you call this? But maybe with Coventry, with not much of a spotlight, and plays Arsenal in the opening match of the entire season.
Yeah.
You know, Coventry.
That Thomas Astante winner at the end will be there. We will be there.
You know what?
Thomas Astante for the winner at the end.
Knowing that I wouldn't call it a Champions curse, but the Premier League Champions curse. Man City fell off the season they won the Prem after.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen. You'll see. It's my early prediction. Just a little spoiler. Yeah.
What, like Arsenal 17?
No. Let's just say they're not winning. They're not going back to back. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Man City is my current pick, but I think, or Man United, but I think to be honest, for us, for Newcastle, I think for next season, I don't know how Spurs will do, but I think for us, I think if we can go for Europa or Conference League, a sort of lesser competition in Europe, then I think that would be good, because then I think maybe we'd go on to win a trophy in one of those competitions. And if we win the Europa League, for example, well, we're in the Champions League, regardless.
I think you guys should give, just like Spurs, I think this applies to both of us, because neither of us are in Europe. I think both of us have to take the cups very seriously. I know Newcastle, you'll go far in the Carabao Cup because you love the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, we'll probably make the final again.
I reckon you'll at least make the semis. You seem to always go far in the Carabao Cup, so you'll make like at least the semis. I reckon. Yeah,
so I'm fine if we win a trophy. Well,
I think both Spurs and Newcastle need to go for the cups, because obviously with no Europe, there's no other games apart from the Prem. So I think both teams need to really be taking the cup seriously next season.
Yeah, because I think we can win one of the cups, because at least we actually have done that. Whereas Spurs, the last time they've won
we won the Europa League, which is a better trophy than the Carabao Cup. So
yeah, but the teams you beat were what? Man United, Frankfurt.
Well, it was. I'll tell you this, right? It might not be the hardest run, but it was harder than Aston Villa's. I can tell you that.
I mean,
it was harder than Aston Villa's.
Our Carabao Cup was Chelsea that got Champions League by the end of that year, Arsenal, Liverpool in the final, and maybe someone else I might have forgotten. Brentford, I think.
Right. Yeah, no, your run, I remember your Carabao Cup run was the teams you beat to win that competition was very impressive. And you fully deserve to win it. But whether you can do that under Eddie Howe again, I'm not sure. I think. See, I reckon there's a chance Eddie Howe might get sacked at some point next season, and maybe after that you get a new manager bounce. Maybe you win the Carabao Cup. I don't know.
Bring me Ange. Nah, but Ange is in Saudi.
Ange is managing Ronaldo.
Yeah, but I think for us next season, right now I feel like predicting us around, I guess 7th, which was actually what I predicted last season.
I mean, with one game a week, Eddie Howe seems to do an all right job with one game a week.
Yeah. So. And that's without any and that's obviously with some of the players from before not being there anymore. So I think we'll see how that goes with us, because I think the Premier League is actually a lot more volatile this season. I think every single team can catch up to Arsenal. Not saying that everyone's going to finish above Arsenal, but I think there's more likelihood.
Well, I'll say it again, right? Arsenal were the worst ever Premier League champions. People will call me biased, sure, but maybe it is a bit biased. But for me, based on quality and the style of play and the way they played, for me, the worst ever Premier League champions. It's as simple as that. When you compare it to previous teams that have won the competition. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It will be interesting. Look, with Spurs, it all depends on that forward line. If we're gonna do anything good next season, we need to bring in forwards. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think that's also probably the big thing for next season. It's like bringing in good players and going the season well. And we do play each other in game 2.
Game 2, yeah, it's very early. Although,
even though it's St. James's Hotspur Stadium usually.
Here we go.
But maybe you might get a victory against us. But we'll see.
We need to, man, because I'll be honest, right? Ever since I've met you, we've never beaten you. We've never beaten you since we've known each other.
Yeah. So maybe that might be the time.
Although we did take Tonali, so that's kind of a win in itself. So
we beat you in August, but I think because Spurs' first game is, I forgot who.
Brentford away,
and then we have Liverpool at home.
That's just so scripted, honestly. You just knew it was gonna, for the whole Isak thing and Munoz as well. Now,
and obviously maybe now, knock on wood, and obviously Kevin Keegan's.
No, R.I.P. to him. Yeah, obviously a big legend for Newcastle and Liverpool. So
also, I just realized you played Brentford away first game of the season, and I remember you started that 3 years ago.
Yeah, in Ange's first season. We drew 2-2.
And then you beat Man United 2-0, and oh no, we're the second game.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure we'll do predictions in the next show, but I don't know. It's hard to say right now. I need to see if we've signed anyone else from now until then before I make a prediction. But I mean, if you're talking about the Brentford game, I mean, don't even remind me of the 0-0 we had against them last season. I mean, peak Thomas Frank ball.
Against former team.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, last season was the most painful season of my lifetime. So hopefully next season will be the best. Who knows?
Or at least, don't be in a relegation battle and maybe get promoted for Palermo.
Look, I want us to get promoted in this away kit. This is a lovely away kit. So, I mean, strangely enough, from what I've seen online, a lot of Palermo fans don't like it. So, I don't know why, but I like it. It's orange, Sicilian lemons and oranges. So,
yeah, I guess apart from that, I guess we'll wrap up this show for this month. And then I guess next time might be a little bit more, in 2-3 or so weeks, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Before the season starts. And La Liga actually starts the season before the Prem. So maybe before La Liga starts back. But yeah, obviously, Charlie, shout yourself out.
Yeah, big up to 10 for having me on. It's good to be back. I probably did, look, for those watching and for you, I probably did waffle quite a lot, to be honest. I hope you guys put up with me okay. But yeah, it's been a while, so I had quite a lot to say. Kamada, Anthony. Kamada, bring him to Palermo. I know we haven't been linked with him, but that's the signing. That's the signing that I want us to loan, maybe to get him in on loan. So yeah, watch this space. Fingers crossed, maybe. But yeah, big up to 10. Big up to the chat. Good show. A lot to talk about, of course, with the World Cup and transfer stuff as well. So again, congrats on your second star. Still got 2 more to go to catch Italy, but
Well,
With the way,
you need 2 Euros to catch up to Spain. So
well, with the way things are going, you're probably going to catch up to us, if I'm honest.
with
So
the World Cup, and we'll probably
yeah.
win the next Euros anyway.
You'll repeat, the early 2010s. So, which by the way, that's just reminded me of the 2012 final.
Yeah, 4-0. I think you still won the Euros after that.
We did.
9.
But yeah, no, it was a good show. That was a really good show. Big up to 10. And yeah, we'll see what happens with our clubs. So
yeah. And then as for me, obviously, doing a few watch-alongs you guys might have seen on the channel, more with Southeast Asian football, but I'm only doing the Philippines games because I'm not really that interested in the other, non-Philippines games. So the first watch-along is on Tuesday, and then there's one on Saturday, and then the week after is also on Tuesday and Saturday as well. So should be a pretty good one. And we'll see if Ruben Amorim...
By the way, I didn't mention it, but Anthony, why on earth did Milan opt for Amorim over Glasner? It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. I don't know why you guys hired Amorim. I really don't.
Yeah, and then watch Amorim win Serie A next season or something.
Look, I'll be honest, right? Milan could win the Europa League. That for me is a big. I think either them or Juventus are going to win the Europa League next season.
I hope so.
Don't worry, it won't be Sunderland. Don't worry. So
I wouldn't even mind. Who's the other? I think it's not Brighton. Who's the other one?
Bournemouth.
Nah, never mind. Okay, maybe we finally don't get an English champion.
It won't be this year. It won't be this year.
It'll probably be like. Actually, I hope not. The team that's kind of like 2-3 hours away from me.
Celta Vigo.
Though I actually think they might actually be alright again.
I don't think they'll win it though. I think they'll go far, but I don't think they'll win it.
Yeah, maybe Sociedad might be the closest. But yeah, I think obviously doing watch-alongs, the first one on Tuesday, and then obviously I'll be back with the El Toro La Liga show, which you guys can see at the bottom.
So you got a La Liga show now where you can talk about Depor. So that must be good.
Yeah, and obviously talking about the Segunda as well in that. And I'll probably not do a Newcastle show like what I did the Magpie Cream Pie show, because in a way I'm like, And also there's a lot of there's other Newcastle United content creators as well. So I think maybe I can join some of the fan forums if there are any or whatever, but maybe watch-alongs that Steve might have, because I know Steve will do one and he'll get very upset about Nick Pope starting, which I wouldn't be surprised at. But maybe we bring in Courtois or something.
Courtois, Jesus.
But I think overall should be a pretty good season, and obviously other watch-alongs. I guess when Champions League is back, watch the Champions League games, like what did the past 2 years, and then I don't know what else I'm thinking. And then obviously when the Asian Cup happens, which is probably the next big international.
Oh yeah, 2027. Yeah.
In January. So
January, yeah. Come on, surely Qatar aren't going to win it again. Surely.
I hope so.
Surely not. Like, I mean, I'm stunned that Japan haven't won it recently. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. And then I guess one final comment. So far from. Yeah, I think Milan will be actually alright. I don't know if they'll win it, but knock on wood, I think Champions League football for Milan.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, that actually reminds me. So before we go, Palermo just signed Bozolan, who formerly was in Milan's academy. We just signed him. He's at Reggiana now, but we just you probably know him, Bozolan, left back. We just signed him, so he'll be our backup behind Agello. So yeah, let me know what you think of him. Let me know if you think he's good.
For maybe a couple more minutes, but yeah, I think overall for next season, which is pretty much now, because now that the World Cup's over, what do you call this? I guess maybe we'll do this type of show every month. I don't know which specific days, but I guess we'll do this type of show.
Yeah.
every month, or if we could, maybe 2 times a month. But I guess
Yeah, look, whenever we're both available, why not? Why not? Whenever we're both available. So
and then obviously talking about the Premier League season, La Liga season, and then obviously Champions League. I guess maybe before we go, super early call. I'll go Bayern Munich to win.
Champions League. I already have my prediction for it.
Okay, I'll let you hold off. But
I'll hold off. I have probably the earliest I've ever.
I know it's going to be Arsenal. I know you're saying
You
Arsenal.
thought wrong. Of course not. But you'll see who it is. Look, I don't think I've ever had a prediction this early, but I do already have my Champions League winner prediction. So
He'll probably say Arsenal, but I guess the last one from.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, he was he got relegated with Reggiana last season, but he's only going to be our backup. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and so yeah, I guess we'll wrap up this show here. Been a very good show. Been a while since Charlie's been on. Obviously, the last time was actually like maybe mid-June or when
before the World Cup and before I went to Sicily, which was really good. So yeah, big up to Baran as well for joining.
Yeah, we're just about to wrap up. So yeah, I guess we'll end the stream here, and we'll see you guys. At least for me, you guys will see me on Tuesday. But if Charlie wants to join, then I guess so. It'll be at 11 a.m. anyway on Tuesday, so probably not. And I guess very quickly, as of right now, I'll go with Inter, Milan, Juve, Napoli.
You wait. I'll hold off mine. You'll see mine on when we do the predictions on the next show.
So and I'll probably think more about it as well. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up here, and we'll see you guys. Well, for me on Tuesday.